Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 in my 50 things to declutter today video. So a few months ago I posted part 1 of this video where I shared 25 things that you can declutter. So today I am sharing the other 25 things to declutter. I just felt like putting both of those in one video was too much, so I split it into 2. You guys loved the first one. It was by far my most watched video ever. And I also just want to thank you guys for 1,000 subscribers, which I hit I think last week. And I am so grateful for each of you who have decided to subscribe to my little YouTube channel. And of course, if you haven't already done that, make sure that you subscribe to this channel because I share tons of decluttering and minimalist tips. Okay, let's get right into the video. And if you haven't watched part 1, my first 25 tips of what you should declutter today, that's okay. You don't need to watch it before this, but make sure you check that out next. I'll have it linked above and I'll also have it linked in the description box below. And this video is perfect timing because we are mid-December right now. We're about to go into Christmas, and then after Christmas I feel like everyone wants to declutter their entire house. So whether you're watching this video now when I post it and you want to declutter these 25 things before Christmas, or maybe you're watching it in January and you're ready to declutter your house, purge your house, and just start 2020 with a clean, organized home. Or maybe you're watching this video months or years from now, and obviously there's no bad time to declutter your home. So let's get started with the video. The first thing to declutter is clothing that you don't feel good in. And I think this can actually be kind of hard because it might actually be clothing that we like or clothing that we want to like or something we spent a lot of money on. But the reality is if you put a sweater on or a pair of jeans on and you never feel good in it, maybe it's uncomfortable or maybe you just don't like the way that you look when you're wearing that, just get rid of it and I promise you will not regret that. Number 2 is bras and underwear that you don't like. We all have underwear or bras that we just don't wear, and then when your underwear pile gets down to like the last 3 pairs, you're kind of bummed that you have to wear those ones. So just get rid of them because you don't like them anyway. And the next item is out of season clothing. It might seem weird to declutter things that you're not using that are out of season right now, but honestly, if it's winter right now, just pull out your summer clothing, or if it's summer where you are, pull out your winter jackets and all your winter clothes and just take this time to declutter those things now. Okay, the next item kind of goes along with that one, and that's to declutter winter accessories. So I feel like so many of us have gloves or mittens that don't have a pair, or maybe you've just accumulated a ton of winter hats. Just take some time to declutter those, find the pairs. If there is no pairs, you don't need a mitten that doesn't have a pair, so get rid of it. Okay, the 5th item to declutter today is jewelry that you don't really like or don't really wear. Personally, I hardly ever wear jewelry. I wear my wedding rings and that's pretty much it, but I have 1 or 2 necklaces that I will wear on a nice occasion, and I basically got rid of everything else because I wasn't wearing it. It was just taking up space, collecting dust, and someone else is going to enjoy it more than I do. And even if you do wear jewelry often, just go through your earrings and get rid of anything, again, that doesn't have a pair, or anything that is broken, or just things that you don't really like and you haven't used in maybe 6 to 12 months. Okay, the next item is childhood items. So whether they're your own childhood items, I don't recommend decluttering your spouse's childhood things. Let them do that for themselves. But if you have childhood items of your own, or if you have kids who have grown up a little bit and you still have some of their baby things or artwork or whatever, go through those childhood items and keep the things that you really like, but maybe organize them in a memory box or something like that, and then get rid of the things that aren't really sentimental and you don't even really care about. The next item is board games that you don't really like. And I'm all for having board games, and you don't have to use them all the time. Maybe you only pull them out once or twice a year, and I think that that's okay if there's something that you love. But if there's a board game that you've had for a couple years and you just never play it, maybe it's missing pieces, or you just don't really like it, you don't really enjoy it, get rid of those. You don't need to hold on to them. If they're perfectly good board games but you just don't really enjoy playing with them, just donate them and I promise you some other kid will love them. Okay, the next item is expired food. And in my last video I did mention food that you don't really like that you maybe bought and haven't used, but I wanted to just talk specifically about expired food. Just go through your pantry and your freezer and your fridge and read all of the expiration dates and get rid of things that are expired because you're not going to eat them. And next, this is also a kitchen item. Declutter any spices that maybe you're not using. Maybe they're super old, so they're not going to be very good anyway. Maybe they've dried out, but just get rid of spices that you aren't using, don't need, because they tend to take up a lot of space and you don't need to keep them all. Now, I definitely do have a lot of spices. I love to cook from home. I cook all of my meals from home and I do use my spices all the time, but I'm still careful about making sure that I don't have expired spices or duplicates or things that I don't really like to use. Okay, next is to declutter your tea and your coffee. And again, I am a tea person. I love to have lots of different teas. I like to have different teas to offer people who are guests in my home, but I do make sure to get rid of teas that I don't like. Maybe I bought something and I just really don't like it and I'm not even gonna offer it to a guest because it's gross or something. Or maybe you have tea bags that have like ripped open, or you have loose tea bags and you don't even know what flavor they are. Get rid of those things. And same with coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I feel like all the same things could be applied to coffee if you are a coffee person. Okay, and next is vitamins and supplements that either have gone bad or maybe they're just ones that you don't use. Maybe you bought some supplements that were kind of expensive and you didn't really notice a difference or you didn't like them. I am definitely a firm believer in using supplements. I have lots of supplements. I'm probably not a minimalist when it comes to supplements, but they are kind of something that are trial and error, and maybe you tried something and it just didn't really work for you. Maybe it wasn't the right thing for you. Get rid of those. You don't have to feel guilty about them. You didn't waste money by purchasing them. It's just all part of the process of getting healthy, is trying different things, and it's okay if something didn't work for you. Okay, and the next thing is to declutter your fridge magnets. So I know some people collect fridge magnets when they go on trips and stuff. If your fridge magnets are something that you love and bring you tons of joy, that's fine. You don't have to declutter them. But if you're like me and you prefer a simple decluttered fridge, then feel free to declutter some of those magnets and you can donate them or give them away to someone else who will enjoy them more. But I think that that's something we often forget to declutter. Okay, I think we are on number 13. Okay, I think this is number 13 of things to declutter in your home today. And that is projects that you won't actually do. So maybe you bought something that you were going to repaint or flip or fix in some way and you realize that it's not really the right item for the space, or you just don't really like it anymore but you kind of feel guilty. Either do the project and just get it done with and sell it, or get rid of it because you're never gonna do it and you don't need to hold on to it forever. Okay, next is baskets, and I am a basket person. I love wicker baskets to hold random things all over my house, but I definitely have a tendency to buy more baskets than I need. So either use the baskets and find a home for them. Maybe you can actually organize a spot in your home that always gets messy with the basket you have. But if the reality is that you just have more baskets than you need, just get rid of those. Again, someone else will really love them. Okay, the next item is dead plants. And if you guys know me at all, you know that I love plants. I have like a zillion plants. So this might come as a surprise for me, but I actually hate reviving dead plants. It is not one of my passions. Some people intentionally buy the dying plants at the store so that they can revive them. I realized that that is not my thing. I hate dying plants. So recently I just got rid of all the plants that were basically dead, and I feel so much better because every time I looked at those, I just felt like I was a bad plant mom and I was killing my plants and it stressed me out. So obviously if you have plants that are not dead but just not doing great, you could give those away because someone else will enjoy that challenge. But if you have plants that have just died and you're hoping that they'll come back to life and it's been 6 months and they just haven't come back to life, just get rid of them. It's fine. It happens to all of us. Everybody I know who has plants in their home has killed plants, and that's okay. The next item is Christmas items, and I am filming this video at Christmas times, but even if you're watching this video later and it's not Christmas, that's totally fine. There's no reason why you can't declutter your Christmas items in the middle of July. In fact, that actually might be a better time to declutter them because I feel like when you're putting up your Christmas decorations, you just want to like get them all up and get it over with because maybe you have kids helping you, or it's just like chaos and it's already messy because you're in the middle of doing it and it's not really the time to declutter them. So whenever you're watching this, just take some time and maybe pull all your Christmas decorations out. This might be a little bit of a bigger process if you have lots of Christmas decorations, but really just go through them and try to minimize the amount of Christmas decor you have if you have stuff that you don't really like. Okay, and next is garden tools. Things like shovels, rakes. Maybe you have 3 or 4 shovels and you really only need 1 or 2, so you can declutter, get rid of the other ones. Or maybe you have a rake or a shovel or something that's broken, but you've just been holding on to it for whatever reason. Just take some time to get rid of those things. You don't need them. If your shovel is broken and it's not really usable, just get rid of it and you can buy yourself a new one next time you need it. Okay, this next one is one of my favorites because it's one of the hardest, but that is to declutter hobbies that we don't actually do anymore. So maybe you used to love snowboarding and you went all the time, but you haven't been in 5 years. It might be a good idea to sell some of your equipment if it's worth money. And then if you only go once every couple of years, you can just rent, because honestly, it's probably more worthwhile. Or maybe you bought something for like a specific craft hobby. Maybe you wanted to get into knitting and you just never did it. Or you did it and you just realized that it wasn't really for you. Whatever the hobby is, if you're holding on to things because you're hoping that eventually you'll do that hobby, but it's been years and you haven't done it, just take this time to get rid of those things, and honestly you'll probably feel better because you won't feel this pressure to do a hobby that you don't actually really like. Okay, the next one is random items in your car glove box, and I don't know what items you'll find in there, but I know that sometimes when I open my car glove box there are 18 pens and a whole bunch of receipts and like a sock and a mitten, dog poop bag. Like, I don't know how this stuff gets in there, but just go outside to your car right now, open up the glove box, and declutter the random things that are in there that don't need to be there. Okay, next is old razors or duplicate razors or razors you didn't really like. Somehow I tend to accumulate razors. I don't really know how it happens, but all of a sudden I'll have like 3 razors on the go. So figure out if they are worth keeping, and if they're worth keeping, put it in your shower and use it for a couple weeks. But if they're old and for some reason you just accumulated extras, just get rid of it. You don't need it. Okay, we are almost done, but there's still some really good ones. So the next one is old cans of paint. So maybe you still have a can of paint that you used in your previous house, but you're never going to use that again, but there's still a good amount in it. You can actually donate paint. There's different places that will take half-open bottles of, I know in some locations the dump actually has a place where you can drop off half-used cans of paint, and then other people can use those. So if you have paint, maybe it was a paint color that you ended up not really liking, or it's just a paint color from an old room, or whatever it is, but if you're not going to use it, just donate it and someone else will use it. Okay, next is declutter your pet toys. So my dog is definitely an aggressive chewer and he destroys everything. So every once in a while I just go into his toy box and I throw away the things that he's wrecked. And I do let him keep things for a certain amount of time as long as it's not a health hazard. But at some point his toys get so nasty and it's just time to get rid of them. Okay, the next item is extra grocery bags. So maybe you have like 8,000 plastic bags. I know lots of people accumulate a ton of those, and there are places that you can donate those, or maybe you just need to start being aware of how many plastic bags you're using and you need to just use up the ones you have. I do once in a while accept a plastic bag somewhere because I like to use them as like a garbage bag in my car or in my bathroom, but I'm really conscious about how many plastic bags I have and I just make sure that I don't have too many of them. Or maybe you even have a ton of reusable canvas grocery bags and you only ever use maybe 3 or 4 at a time, and the reality is that you don't need to have like 30 different grocery bags. So get rid of the extras. I'm sure you can donate them and someone else will use them. Okay, the next item to declutter today is travel size products that you probably won't use. Personally, I like to use all my normal products when I'm traveling, so I just end up putting my own shampoo or my own lotion in a travel sized container, and I don't actually use travel sized products that maybe I collected from a hotel, or maybe they were just in package that I bought or something. But if you know that you're not going to use those travel size products, just get rid of them. Again, I'm guessing there's places that you can donate things like that, maybe shelters or something take those. I don't know. If you know where you can donate travel size products, leave a comment in the box below because I have never tried to do that anywhere. But if you have a ton of travel size products that you're never going to use up, just get rid of them because they're just taking up space and they're going to end up expiring in your cupboard anyway. Okay, and the next one is old coupons that have expired or receipts that you don't need. And of course there's certain receipts that you might want to hold onto. Maybe you bought a new TV and you want to keep the receipt, that's fine. But if you went to Walmart 6 months ago to buy milk and eggs and you still have that receipt, unless you're someone who keeps every receipt and files them, which I don't do that. If you are someone who keeps all your receipts, then have a system for that. But if you just have random receipts lying around in your purse, in drawers, in shopping bags, just get rid of those old ones that you aren't gonna need. And the very last item is declutter spare change, which I know sounds kind of weird. I'm not saying that you should throw money in the garbage, that's ridiculous. But I find that we end up with coins like all around our house for some reason. There'll be like a quarter in one drawer, and then in another place there'll be like a couple nickels. Have one place where you keep all of your spare change and make sure that it's all there instead of being in a whole bunch of different places. And then it's even a good idea to take that spare change jar that you have and roll up the coins or bring them somewhere where they count them for you and get it exchanged for like a $20 bill instead of a jar of quarters. So there you have it. There is part 2 of my 50 things to declutter today. These are awesome things to declutter before 2020 starts or at the beginning of 2020. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. And again, please be sure to subscribe to my channel, as I do have tons of decluttering and minimalist videos on my channel, and there will be tons more coming soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in a few days.